Turns out that White House aides had to intervene as soon as they realized that Donald Trump was serious about pressuring congressional lawmakers to send one-time direct checks to Americans up to $2,000. Now, as the congressional lawmakers continue to negotiate, what we know so far is that it appears they've agreed to a one-time check of only $600. But Trump, in multiple cases recently, has advocated for more, and White House aides are like, don't do it, it's a bad idea. Now, for instance, on a phone call Thursday afternoon, Trump told allies that he believes stimulus payments in the next relief package should be at least $1,200 per person and possibly as big as $2,000 per person. Then, when he was actually in the middle of drafting his demand for larger payments, White House officials intervened to stop him. Jeff Stein reports that that one aide or one person within the White House said the aides were really frantic, saying, we can't do this, it will blow up negotiations. So this is according to one person who actually heard this exchange. And just this past weekend, Donald Trump was speaking to Brian Kilmeade and said this.
Moving along.
What could you do to get the $900 billion out?
Well, I want to do it. I'm pushing it very hard. And to be honest with you, if the Democrats really wanted to do the deal, they do the deal. They should do it right now. I want to see checks going for more money than they're talking about going to people.
So this is an interesting situation because yes, we have White House aides that are trying to sabotage this. As we know, Mitch McConnell absolutely did not want direct checks to Americans. He didn't even want unemployment for Americans as part of this relief package. But then Mitch McConnell realized that not providing these direct checks to Americans would actually hurt Kelly Loeffler and David Perdue's chances of getting reelected in the Senate runoff races in Georgia. So all of a sudden we have this situation where Democrats have some leverage. And I wanted to know what you guys thought about that.
I just think when Trump is even backing direct payments as high as $2,000. I mean, it shows you how far right the conversation has gone. What we really should be looking at is $2,000 retroactively back to the beginning of the pandemic, because people have to pay for rent, food. I mean, people are going to be in debt when it comes to student debt, other debts. The idea that Trump is backing this should send shockwaves to people to make them hopefully realize that, look, if you look around the world, other countries, they actually, for the most part, took better care of their people. It wasn't perfect. Canada had $2,000 a month for most people who lost their job or were impacted by the virus. Germany, France had wage subsidies up to 87%, covering your full-time pay, up to 100% for part-time pay. A one-time check is way too little, but when even Trump is backing that, the conversation is just, it's so crazy to the right. And I hope they're able to use the leverage that with this upcoming runoff to actually be able to push for something. But I guess we're gonna have to wait and see.
Well, it seems like based even off that short part of that conversation Trump had with Brian Kilmeade before that football game, he's not even really backing up like the push for $2,000 or $1,200 in the payment, because he specifically said, "Oh, as long as these Democrats get on board, and I want more." So either he's confused negotiations, probably has no idea where negotiations are, has no idea where people stand, because he doesn't talk to anyone else, because he's too busy watching TV. So he's his mindset, or maybe if this was his lie to try and pull one over on Fox News viewers, was that the Democrats don't want more. They don't want that direct payment. I do. As soon as these Democrats get on board, we can get some direct payments to the American people. Hey, that's an opportunity for Democrats to go, hey, here's our proposal. Bernie Sanders put up right there. This is what I've been proposing. Does Donald Trump agree with me or disagree with me? Does he disagree with this big socialist, the socialist takeover of America led by Bernie Sanders? Do you agree with it, Mr. Trump? Start asking him, because he has to speak, because he doesn't know how to not be in the spotlight. So either he doesn't know where it is, or he's just really bad at lying. It's probably both. Yeah. For the first part of that.
Well, I will say this. I hear you, but I also don't care like what, like where the messaging is coming from. This is such a great opportunity for Senate Democrats. I mean, Senate Democrats, as I mentioned, all of a sudden have some leverage with the runoff races in Georgia. Loeffler and Perdue are getting hounded by their constituents over the lack of relief, and they want direct checks. They specifically are hounding them about direct checks. And then you have this, perfect video of Donald Trump saying that I think the check should be more. I think they should be $2,000. Perfect. We know that Donald Trump's base loves him. If I were a Democrat, I'm immediately putting out ads saying, look at these Senate Republicans. Look at how they're leaving you to struggle. They're only agreeing to these measly one-time $600 checks. Donald Trump wants to help you. We want to help you. And Mitch McConnell's standing in the way, right? Like, use it to your advantage. Do it. And I don't know. Maybe they're planning on it. Maybe, who knows? But so far, the only Democrat I've seen really fight for these one-time checks. And I mean, to be real, he's wanted more than just a one-time check. He wants repeated payments to Americans. Is Bernie Sanders. David, were you going to say something?
Yeah, Democrats have no idea how to fight. I mean, they're now negotiating down to what, $500, $600 a one-time payment. I mean, what they really lost all their leverage back with the CARES Act. Once they gave up those corporate bailouts for really not all that much in return, then essentially Republicans for the next several months could basically do whatever the hell they want, and Democrats just bang their head against the wall, expecting somehow to get something from Republicans when there's no more leverage left. So now they're stuck in this position where hopefully, utilizing Trump's own words, utilizing the fact that the Georgia runoffs are coming up, use this to your advantage to actually get people help. That's what this comes down to. People need actual help right now. And you have to use whatever you can in front of you to be able to fight for that help. But right now they're negotiating way down under $1,200 for still a one-time payment, which is just not enough.
We're gonna get to Mark Warner as being one of those people, very obviously. It's just my last thought on this is, we sometimes wonder, the Lindsey Grahams, the Mitch McConnells that have no backbone, have no idea how to stand up to this president. We find, this is just an unknown aide in the White House, or probably several. They know how to tell the president, hey, stop with that. When it comes to something like this, when it comes to something like actually helping American people, the backbones are grown. Suddenly they're spines of steel, and they can walk up to the president and be like, okay, you're not gonna tweet, you're not gonna go on Fox News, you're not gonna talk bad about anybody, but all that, you're not gonna do it when it comes to giving Americans the money that they deserve right back to them during a pandemic. You're gonna sit down and shut up. And he sits down and he shuts up because they speak forcefully to him, because those things are what's important to them. What's important to them is making sure enough Americans still continue to have their face in the dirt with these folks' foot on their necks. That's what that's what's important to them. So this is the Republican Party that built Donald Trump, and they're still controlling him. Trust me.
No, I think that's such a great point, JR. There's an argument, and I actually think there's a lot of evidence to this, that while Donald Trump might seem like he has fascistic tendencies, and he certainly does, he's actually an incredibly weak president, because if the Republican Party disagrees with him on something, they'll carry out what they want to carry out. I mean, I think the veto-proof vote on defense spending is a good example of that, a good recent example of that, where Donald Trump was threatening to veto it unless he got certain provisions that he wanted related to the tech industry and related to renaming military bases. And Republicans are like, no, if we have to choose between Trump or our donors, we have to choose between Trump and private military contractors, we're gonna go with our donors and the military contractors. And again, veto-proof vote in both the House and the Senate. So interesting stuff there for sure.
Thanks for watching The Young Turks, really appreciate it. Another way to show support is through YouTube memberships. You'll get to interact with us more. There's live chat emojis, badges. You've got emojis of me, Anna, John, JR. So those are super fun. But you also get playback of our exclusive member-only shows and specials right after they air. So all of that, all you gotta do is click that join button right underneath the video. Thank you.